And yet again, special thanks to Matthew for hopping on this week of the month. I know it's the last one of April, I believe. Nope, not the last one. Next week's the last one. I keep forgetting that next week is not May. Or actually it is. I don't know dates. It is the last week of April. Matthew, though, thank you for having him jump on another great topic from Matthew. But Brandon, we are going into, I feel like it's been a long time since we dove into some actual college football news, college football analysis. And what we're looking at today is basically Jeremy Pruitt, the new head coach at Tennessee. He's filling in for the fired Butch Jones, who's no longer at Tennessee. And basically, Tennessee had their spring game. And although some of the players looked good, some of the players did not. And Coach Pruitt had some interesting things to say after this game that, personally, I love it. Absolutely love it. Here's some of the stuff that he had to say. First off, when talking about the players, he praised some and said that they did their best to compete, but then said that others flat out quit. And then he went on to say, talking about the fans, I don't know how many fans we had. What was it? Anyone know the number? He was then told that the number was 65,000, and he continued to say, to me, it's kind of like our football team for the fans. The ones who were here, I'm proud of who they were. They're fired up. They're ready to get going. Then there were some people who weren't here that had legitimate reasons. They couldn't be here. And then there were people who weren't here. Why weren't they here? He said, it's kind of like our football team. I think we all need to take a look in the mirror and see who we want to be. I absolutely love this. And I know we're talking about, will he be able to turn this program around? The thing that I love about this is that he's not just calling out the players. Calling out the players is one thing. Of course, you're going to want to come in as a new coach, let a fire under their asses, get them going, make them feel like, you know what, we are not going to be complacent. There are some of you that need to whip it into shape, or you're going to get going, or that's the way I'm thinking about it. But then I like how he also turned it on the fans, where it's kind of like, what's the one thing, no matter the sport, that we bitch about? Fair weather fans. Nobody likes fair weather fans. In Chicago, for baseball, we know it all too well. Think about 2005. I know you were a little younger, Brandon, but I was in high school at the time. And the thing I remember is 2005, the White Sox win the World Series. And how many of my friends, there were a sea of Sox fans that I knew. Not many of us Cub fans were around. Then the Sox started to go on the downcline. Cubs got Theo Epstein, Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant. We started building the team. That team starts going on the upcline a little bit. We win the World Series. Now, you walk around Chicago, doesn't matter, north side, south side, east side, west side, no matter where you are, you see Cubs jerseys. More Cubs jerseys than you do Sox jerseys. You can even go to a Sox game nowadays and see more Cubs jerseys than you see Sox jerseys.
That's false.
However, the point I'm getting to is we know fair weather fans. This is what I love with Jeremy Pruitt's comments. He's basically saying, if you love this team, he goes, I know there were people that had legitimate reasons and could not be here. But if you love this team, love us now when we're at our worst. Don't be jumping on the bandwagon when we're going for the SEC title and in the college football playoff. That's basically what I am reading in to Jeremy Pruitt's comments.
Well, Jeremy Pruitt, as we should all know, comes from the best team in college football, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Mm-hmm. So he was with Alabama from 2010 to 2012. And won 2 national championships with them. He was their defensive backs coach. So then he leaves there. He goes to Florida State. He becomes their defensive coordinator. While at Florida State, he turns their defense into something pretty. They were first in the nation in scoring defense with 10.7 points per game. Third in the nation in total defense, 248.2 yards per game allowed. Second in the nation in passing defense. First in the nation in interceptions, 26. And then in 2014, goes to Georgia. He's their defensive coordinator as well. And then he ends up going back to Alabama, where, yet again, they win a national championship. Jeremy Pruitt is a winner. He knows what it's like to win, he's going to expect nothing less. He expects what it's like to be on winning teams. Alabama, Georgia, Florida State, all teams that have been competitive, have been good in their respective divisions and conferences. He's coming into a completely different atmosphere. He's coming into a completely different environment in Tennessee. Into an environment where Tennessee fans are really not happy. Or were really not happy. So much to the point where Tennessee said, okay, we've got a guy for you. And they said, okay, we hate him. Okay, we'll get rid of him. Okay. Pussies.
I completely forgot that happened.
Pussies. But I think that, what really this is and what this does is that guys that want to be on this team and play for this team, like you're talking about there, they will. Guys that don't, they'll be gone or they will not be seeing the field because you cannot develop a winning culture. You cannot develop a winning team if you don't have the guys that want to do it. And he's going to make that clear from the beginning, which clearly he is. And I think that that's a really good thing. Truly, as much as I thought that the fans who had protested and this and that and the other thing, as much as I thought that was petty as all can be, I think that everything happens for a reason. And Jeremy Pruitt, a very, very, it's like a diamond in the rough here. Because Jeremy Pruitt is certainly dazzling when you look at his resume and what he's done wherever he's gone. I'm not saying he's turning this team around and making them a contender for the SEC title right away. You
got to set the culture, though, first.
You've got to set a culture. And here in Tennessee, it was really toxic. It was real bad. When you got guys who are on the sidelines saying, we're not coming, we're transferring. We're on our phones saying we're transferring from Tennessee. We're done. We're out of here.
I believe at halftime of games.
Yes. Not good. Not good. You have a little ways to go in between that and SEC title. But if anyone's going to do it, I believe Jeremy Pruitt is the guy to be able to. Because, again, when you come from a winning culture, you know what it takes. He understands what it takes, and he's going to get guys who want to be part of that.
Well, and one of the things, I got some more quotes for you. And first off, to get your answer, just the yes or no. You like or don't like the comments made by Pruitt?
Love.
Okay. So both you and I are on the same page. We love the comments made from Pruitt. However, there is one guy in the sports media world who does not, who is a very big voice in SEC country. Do you kind of have a feeling who I'm going to say?
You're going to say Feinbaum.
Feinbaum, or as you like to call him,
Finnebaum.
Finnebaum. But what he said today it didn't say this today. He said this Monday morning on Wojaks FM, The Roundtable, WJOX FM. This is what he said. I really like what he did, and I think everyone is starting to understand how he won Philip Fulmer, Vols AD, over, and how he won Nick Saban and some of the other people over the past. But what I am concerned about is when you criticize the people who actually showed up at the game. It's not a good look. He then goes on to say, I think they tried too hard in Knoxville to hype this game as something more than it was. I was in Knoxville last year, and I saw this football team. I'm not sure that I blame anyone for not wanting to go see that again. Jeremy Pruitt has proved something on the field, or has to prove something on the field, and just trying to hype, let's have 60 or 70 or 80,000 at a game or whatever, just wasn't going to do it. I think it was a mistake. I don't think it was a critical mistake because right now the fans are all in, but it's like you're an entertainer. You're the Eagles on a Friday night and you're saying, man, where are the people? Well, you're talking to the people who showed up and bought tickets. It's never a good look when you do that. I look at these comments. I get where he's coming from. Like, there's a part, like how he says in there that, like, where he goes, oh, he won him over, but then he says, oh, he's concerned because he criticized. I didn't see in the comments I read from Pruitt, he's not criticizing the people that were there.
No.
The point that I like from Feinbaum, though, is I get the point of why do I want to go? Well, it's the fan of like, I'm not going to support you until you put a better product on the field because that's how I'm going to hurt you is in the money pockets. Like that's how like the fans that don't go think. However, me, because when I am a fan of a team, I'm all in. I'm a fan of that team, whether we go like for the Vikings. If we went 0-16 or won the Super Bowl, I'm at the same fandom level all the way at the top every single game. Am I depressed if they're 0-16? Probably. But I am still a fan wearing my Vikings gear, cheering that team, screaming at my television set, raising the heart rate a little bit. I don't think he didn't criticize the fans who were there. He also said that, yeah, I realized there are some people that had stuff to do, legitimate reasons, couldn't be here. He was speaking to the fans that were on that side of, yeah, I'm not supporting this team if you're not going to be better. It was basically him saying, don't crucify me for the old regime. I'm here to fix shit. If you're in, you're in. It's kind of like what I hear in videos that I watch from this YouTuber called Steve Dangle. He's a Leafs fan. They're in the playoffs right now. And what he always says is he's like, I got one question for you. Are you in? That's what Pruitt was saying. He's talking to the fans going, this is a new regime. Are you in? Simple yes or no question.
Well, absolutely. But I think that, you also have to look at how things change. Let's take baseball, for example.
Yep.
You are a huge fan of the Chicago Cubs.
Even when they sucked.
You have Joe Madden right now. Mm-hmm. But before, when you had Lou Piniella and you weren't that good, you still wanted to go to games. You still loved the Cubs, and you supported the Cubs, even though you'd, moan about them because they stunk. Yeah, that's what we do. But if we're still going and we're, watching them and we're supporting them, and yes, we can say that you're not good, but you can also still continue to be a huge fan and stuff like that. I mean, that's what being a true fan is. If you're going to go and you're going to support them and you're going to be all about them when they're not good, and then when they are good, just be even more excited and elated. That's exactly what Pruitt's saying. That's exactly what he's saying. And I agree 100% with you. I don't think that he said anything wrong in terms of what he said about the fans. Because, yes, has Tennessee football been hard to watch the last couple of years? Yes, it has been. It has been tough. They have not been very competitive. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that, a true fan, and now we're not talking just a football fan of any conference. This is an SEC football team, an SEC country. I mean, we're talking church is going to the game.
Yep,
going to church. It's going to the football game on Saturday.
It's almost like Texas with high school football, where when a baby's born, 100%. In Knoxville, they're given a little Tennessee football. Go Vols. That's how it is in Tennessee country, especially Knoxville.
Well, exactly, and I think that for them to not be. For them to not be supporting, not be showing up, and again, 65,000 is a pretty good number. 60,000 is a pretty good number of people to be there in attendance. But, I think that he's talking, we get down the road here, and we don't have, fan support for what we're trying to do, for us trying to be better and get better, and no, we're not going to be great right away. That's saying something, because those aren't the true fans then. And kind of like you said, if you're not supporting us at what may be our worst, then we don't want you. We don't want you there when, we're at our best, because you just want to ride, the team that's real good, the team that's real hot. You just want to talk about Tennessee when they're good. You don't want to come support them when they're bad. But again, I think that this is a guy who, this will be a really good coach for the players. And this will really get a player's mindset, especially who went through the Butch Jones days, especially towards the end when things were not good, to help get their mindset right and to help get their mindset back focused on football. And it's not going to be focused on who's my next coach going to be? When's this coach going to be gone? Okay, things are just toxic in this locker room. No, it's going to be focused on football again. It's going to be focused on how am I getting better in the weight room? How am I getting bigger, faster, stronger? That's where Jeremy Pruitt and his efforts are going to be. And it's not going to be in the next coach. It's not going to be in, all the other outside factors that seem to come with Tennessee football the last couple of seasons.
Well, and the thing that I think back to is about 2 years ago, I want to say. It was the year in football, I think it was 2016, when the Cardinals played the Packers, and the Packers, I think, beat them in overtime. That was the year it was around my birthday, which would have been in January. So that spring semester, Johnny Carlick here at MVP, actually lived down in Tennessee, right by Knoxville, at the end for that whole semester doing an internship. And Dave and I went down to see him. And just being in that area, I heard two things. Either I went to like a Walgreens or something, a convenience store, gave the change, got it back, go Vols. I wasn't even a Vols fan. Still got to go Vols. Or I heard Rocky Top. Either one of those two. Just kind of like how Alabama, it's like, roll tide, roll tide. Like that's how it is. And I mean, the thing that I think of is I just look at this Tennessee team and I go, we're only at the beginning. Let's see what Pruitt does. With me, I love these comments. I have no bad things to say about them because you want to, I know it's cliche to say it, but you want to instill a culture. Right now, you got a team where, yeah, both quarterbacks, or all the quarterbacks in the spring game, I want to say, played well, but you got to make a decision there. You got to find out who's going to take over for the quarterback who just left. You also have a running back in John Kelly, who's no longer with Tennessee as well. So this is going to be something that's not going to be, we're turning over in one day, one night, and we're going to get this going. The interesting thing is with this is the SEC East is in an interesting situation because you've got Georgia at the top, but then right under them, you got Tennessee and Florida, both with brand new coaches. Florida with Dan Mullen. Florida might be in a better situation this year just because they didn't have to deal with the kind of drama that Tennessee had to deal with. But I look at this and I think that Jeremy Pruitt, he will make Tennessee a winner. I don't think this is going to be a 1-2 year thing and then, we got to kick him out the door because we're not winning games. I think that Jeremy Pruitt's going to be the one to turn them into a winner because it's like, I know it's not the exact situation. Look at Kirby Smart. Goes into Georgia. I know it wasn't as toxic a situation as Tennessee is, but he was able to turn Georgia into a winner. Yeah, you're probably not going to make it to the national championship as early as Georgia did, but give it a few years, maybe 3 at the least, and you will be fighting for college football playoff appearances, I promise you.
And you talk about Kelly having to be, replaced there at the running back position. Mm-hmm. Defensively, there needs to be a lot of work done. But I also believe that Jeremy Pruitt's the right guy to be able to do that.
I mean, look at the Alabama defense.
Look at the Alabama defense. Look at what he did with the defense when he was there at Florida State. Mm-hmm. Look at what he did when he was with Georgia. There were just a lot of good things. Wherever he's gone, he's been successful. And
he's a defensive-minded guy.
He is, and that's not just him. I know it's not just him. It's the other coaches, and it's the head coach, and it's also the type of system and the guys they have for that. But he's a big part of it. Tennessee had 5 interceptions last year. Wrap your head around that. They
on defense, not on offense.
On defense.
Because on offense, it's phenomenal.
On
Only 5.
Defense, they had 5 interceptions. That's it. Unless this is wrong, unless sportsreference.com is inaccurate, which they're not.
Don't think they are wrong.
You have 5 picks all season. Total. Mm-hmm. That's bad.
It's very bad.
That's bad. I mean, and I know that's one thing, but that's not good. That is not good. And you have a long ways to go in terms of that. But I think they're better suited defensively with a guy like Pruitt. That's his specialty. That's his forte. He's probably like, give it to me. Come on, give it to me. I'll change it.
Another thing with Pruitt, let's see what he does in the recruiting game this season and next year, because he came in so late because of what happened where, hey, we're going to bring in this guy. Ooh, no, we're not. You don't like him. No, we didn't hire him.
I'm sorry.
We didn't have a press conference.
I didn't mean to.
Who are you talking about? Ricky even forgot about him. That's how long ago it's been. But he came in so late, he didn't really get a chance to put his fingerprints and get in the mud, let's say, with molding a recruiting class. This will be his first one. So let's even see what he does with that. I love the comments for Jeremy Pruitt. I love what he's doing so far. I think he will be able to turn around Tennessee football. Before we kind of end the podcast, what are your final thoughts with Jeremy Pruitt, Tennessee, and will he be able to turn this Vols team around?
My final thoughts is, like I mentioned earlier, I already like him. He's an Alabama guy.
Yeah, because you're an Alabama fan. Roll Tide.
He is he's a very, very good defensive-minded coach. And again, it's always helpful when the guy that you're getting is coming from winning teams, and he's had a winning record wherever he's gone. He's had a winning track record. He's made whatever team he's with better, whatever position he's coaching better. That's what Tennessee needs right now. Jeremy Pruitt, he's your guy.
So I know this has nothing to do with what we talked about today, but I've got to say it because if you've listened to the Onside Kick in full format on podcast services, this segment's not going to post until Thursday on YouTube. But you want to know something funny? Sean and I did a sleeper segment, right? Like sleepers outside the first round. One guy I had mentioned was Antonio Callaway from Florida. Did you just hear what popped up on ESPN?
No.
At the Combine, he tested positive for, I know some people are going to say, woo, big deal, but guess what? Guys have fallen for this in the past. Tested positive for marijuana. Teams are not going to like that. No longer the sleeper that I thought he is, or is he a bigger sleeper because this will make him fall in the draft?
No, the whole thing with Callaway is he had a really horrid last season at Florida, all because of off the field stuff with drugs and things like that, and him having that again.
The sexual assault thing with the female student.
Yeah, was that him?
Yeah, 2015. December of 2015, he was accused of that.
That ain't good either.
No.
But I again, it's one of those things where, if he continues to do that and have that in his system, he's not stopping. He's not stopping. He's continuing to use it. And I mean,
Josh Gordon
again,
I
was just gonna say Josh Gordon is a prime example of a guy who's uber talented, but for a long time could not put down the bottle and stop smoking weed and doing drugs. And he's now gotten clean. And this is a guy who's coming back to the league, and I think you can tell he is still extremely uber talented. And Antonio Callaway, you hate to see good talent thrown away like that because of things like that where you could seek help and be able to get that taken care of and be able to reach your full potential. And that's what these guys should be able to do. And I'll be praying for that guy.
Here's my issue with it is I don't have a problem that he tested positive for it. My issue is you're going to the Combine. They're going to test you. Why are you like, if let's say I did it, which I don't, but if I did, why would I, if you were saying, hey, Ricky, you're getting tested in 3 weeks, I wouldn't continue to do it. I'd stop right away, make sure it was out of my system. I passed the test. All right, now I go to it. Like, that's what it shows to me. You're that stupid to fail the test when you know the test is coming. Like, what'd you think? Oh, they're not going to test me at the Combine. That's what irks me about it. And I know teams aren't going to think that way, but that's what I feel. Like, really?
No, but
you knew it was coming.
No, I don't necessarily think that's right. I think the teams would look at that and go, this isn't the first time that you've done it.
No, they're going to look at he did it, period, not the way I'm looking at it.
Here's your history. Here's your history of all the stuff you've done. This looks like it's going to be a continuous thing. we don't necessarily know if we
Yeah.
can have that around our team.
And that's what I mean. Like, teams are going to look at it that he did it, period.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it to where it's like, you knew the test was coming and you continued to do it. Like, how stupid are you?
Yeah.
But this is where you guys come in. Camera shuts off again for another segment because we're going too long. This is where we wrap things up. Little housekeeping here at the end. Number one, if you want to be like Matt, help support the channel and come on a podcast in the future, check out patreon.com/most valuable podcast. MVP store is down below in the description. Go ahead and get yourself a Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt. My full 7-round mock draft is on mostvaluablepodcast.com. That's where you can also catch everything for MVP each and every day. And last but not least, if you're on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I'm still putting the 5 up at the camera. They can't see me, but I'm still doing it. Go and give the Primetime Podcast a 5-star rating. Want to thank you guys for watching. Want to thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. And as always, have a good day, everybody.